We're already at like, I think 30 in the room or something like that. It's pretty awesome. Guys, this is episode 40 of the Level Up Show. Getting close, 10 more until the big 50, which we might treat as our anniversary. It depends on where it falls. It could be close.
Yeah.
It's going to be very close.
I want to move that sign so that everyone can see how nice Bogey's watching Mark eat his mac and cheese.
He's not even watching him. He's just like,
he's staring
scrolling
intently
He's
at the
Bogey
cup.
loves mac and cheese.
Mac and
He's
cheese.
a statue.
Like he's like in hunter mood.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that though. He's really good with that.
No,
he
I'm
doesn't
not saying
beg.
it's a problem.
Mark,
It's
will
just
you
like a
let
point.
him lick the container when you're done?
I'll give him a little bit. See, he's like inching forward.
He's just
He's like,
slowly getting closer and closer. You guys can't really see that though. So guys,
Can I move it for a second?
yeah, you can remove it for a second. I'll pause.
Can I do it?
Let me get rid of the object here. Mark is over there.
Oh.
There we go. There's Bogey. Just sitting there intently watching Mark eat his mac and cheese.
I'll put it back up.
All right,
I'll put it
you're
back up
doing
for
really good. I'm gonna give you maybe a little bit.
Well, no, when you're finished, just he can lick like.
There we go. And now Bogey's gone again. I couldn't even find him. I was like, where's Bogey at? Okay, there he is. All right, guys, welcome. We are the Level Up Show. We are a gaming dedicated talk show on every Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I am Andrew. This is my co-host Mike, and we also have Mark and Kristen in the chat room with you guys. I actually had to pause for a second to make sure I didn't say Mike there.
Right?
I was like, I'm Andrew. I'm Andrew. I'm not Mike.
Finally.
Yeah, I'm still confused. I don't know what's going on.
You actually got,
Like,
this is the first week he's gotten it right in the past 2 episodes.
I was going to get it wrong. I literally came close to saying Mike again. I had to stop myself for a second. I don't know what's going on with me. I have like a brain tumor or something.
Oh, don't make a joke about that.
I don't
Well,
know.
today he looked into a laser and he's
You're
like,
just
my brain is
dyslexic.
fried.
We got one of those like cool new laser lights where like during Christmas you see them a lot where
Yeah.
it spreads out into like a million different lights.
Right.
We put it on the tree in the backyard, but when I'm putting it down, I like stared right into it.
Why would you do that?
I didn't mean to. It was tough. I had to move it after it was already on, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
And then I said, so if you become a vegetable, what do you want me to do? And he's
Cook them.
and
Make
I-
sure you don't overdo it because they'll get a little chewy.
And I said, I'll pull the plug, and he's like, well, give me a little bit of time to see if I pull through.
Yeah, just give me a couple days. You know,
A couple days, that's
A
it?
couple days. See if
I
if
would say
pull through.
I feel like that's. I would say a month.
This would be the worst on the spot ever.
This would be
I'm
the
there
best-
with the death on the
No,
spot.
this would be the best on the spot.
Not
Oh, man.
really.
No, it would be as
Voice
advanced
in the
as
chat.
that.
How long would you want to be in a coma before they pull the plug?
Wow. All right. The Level Up Show,
Wow.
the go-to spot for death and
dead.
Right.
pulling the plug.
As soon as you're rolled brain
Wait,
dead.
do I
yeah.
have it on the spot tonight?
Yes, you do have it on the spot tonight. If
Oh,
you
we're
can think
actually
about
we're
it.
bringing that back.
Yeah, because
Finally.
we have an opening on the spot tonight. So if Kristen, you can think of one, we can do it on the spot later on.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
All right, guys. As I said, we're a gaming dedicated talk show on every Sunday, and if you would like to follow us, we're already at like 50 in the room. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming in. Please go on twitch.tv/The Level Up Show. Everything's on the signs in front of you that you can follow, hearts, like, whatever you want to call it. So please go on all the different channels. Make sure you follow us throughout the show.
It's
We
not
will
heart,
be.
Drew. It's like. You
It's
noob.
follow.
Or
It's
follow.
follow.
See, I'm sorry.
Follow.
It's follow, you noob.
I'm sorry. I got it wrong the one week. But guys, whenever you follow, like, heart us, we will get notified, and we will try to make sure we acknowledge your appreciation of our show by shouting you out live on the show. What's going on, everybody? What's new? Anything? No?
Not really.
No?
Well,
Mark,
my best friend got
This
married
is a
yesterday.
Really tame week.
it's a really team week for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty low on all fronts.
Especially considering last week was so hectic trying to get this show together.
Everybody had something going on.
Yeah.
Everybody was like running around like crazy.
Yeah.
Like you guys had the most exciting thing to go on that was going on this week. Was
Yeah.
Yesterday. Was yesterday?
Yeah, my
Right.
best friend got married yesterday, and I was the matron of honor. And I gave an awesome speech, and everyone loved it.
She was really nervous about giving the speech. She didn't think she would come off as like sincere or
Matron or maid?
She'd be
Matron.
matron. If you're already married, you're a matron of
Really?
honor. Yeah.
Know that?
Did not know that, huh?
I'll post a picture.
Today I learned.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
The more you know. We need like a little.
By the little
Now
show.
you know.
But yeah, she kept thinking that she was going to be robotic. So the night before, she was reading off to me multiple times, and I was trying to give her pointers. But then in that moment, like I knew it would happen. She became emotional, which isn't a bad thing. Like
No, it's like perfect.
That's good. Like you want to be
Right.
emotional, and it kind of opened her up, and she gave like the perfect
That's
speech. Like she couldn't have
emotional.
delivered it any better. And then throughout the entire night, just over and over again, more and more people came up to her and said like that was the best speech I've ever heard. Like, and she said earlier, like the photographer who'd done like probably 1,000 weddings said that was the best speech I've ever heard. Send it to me on Facebook. I want to post it
That's pretty cool.
on my Facebook page because I liked it so much.
Yeah.
So I was very proud of her.
I'm
Did you do
trying
it?
to. I know I haven't done it yet.
So they are actually talking about the coma thing.
The coma. Oh no.
And Evan Harris said coma is one thing, stuck on life support is another. But then Westfire said if it meant no more mac and cheese, then pull it immediately.
Very nice. All right, there's nothing really going on with
I
me
love
either,
you guys.
to be honest. Just still working on the house, so I got to play Destiny a little bit. I had one day with Derek and Batman.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we played for like an hour and a half and had a really good time. Derek was just dominating. He's in the room and he knows. Like,
Right, yeah.
For a while, after a little while, I was like, man, I'm not like doing anything. And then he kind of pulled back a little bit
Well, I
and let
mean-
me kill.
I mean, here's the thing, and I was even saying it to you, it doesn't really matter too much for what you guys were doing because you've already played that. It's something new to you.
Yeah.
You know, if it was later on in the story, you want to get that sense of difficulty and everything.
Yeah.
But I did that with my cousin, or my cousin's boyfriend, I mean, and he was, I think level 2 when we started, and by the end of the one mission, he was already up at like level 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
He just wanted to get up there because, to him, it's more about the end game stuff than
Sure.
it is the early, but...
Talk a little bit about Destiny because you've had over a week with it now, and your feelings towards the game have changed a little bit, but you're still liking it.
I'm ready to give my final current stasis review.
Okay.
And I think with a game like Destiny, I actually plan on doing a review for this now, and then a year in rewind.
Yeah.
So I'll do it later on. But for right now, so Destiny overall, I think has been catching a lot of flack, undeservedly and deservedly at the same time. There's a lot of things that the community for Destiny is just the worst. It's the worst. If you go on like the forum pages or anything, those guys are just whiny little babies. I mean, just like a lot of them, especially for the Call of Duty folks or even Halo people. But it's just awful, and it's getting a lot of flack for not being the game they thought it was or not being the game that they were promised. But I think a lot of people forget that, like games like Halo, especially from Bungie, let's give that example, they make pretty much the entire story all right in one thing. The only thing DLC for Halo is the maps, the multiplayer maps. That's not the truth for Destiny. Destiny has a lot more story to go for. This is, and I think, I don't know if I talked about it before, but this was, what we already played was just the pre-lot. That was it. The main story is yet to come, and it's probably actually going to come in free stuff. Some of the DLC is going to be worth it.
And that's par for the course when it comes to MMOs. MMOs, you never review after a week. And essentially, that's what Destiny is. It kind of is like an MMO.
Right, and they say it's
and
not
they
an
evolve.
MMO, and you're going to get a lot of flack. We're both going to get a lot of flack for that, but it is. Like,
In a
even
way
though they
it
say
is.
it's not, it has a lot of MMO,
Qualities.
That was really weird. The power just went up. Okay.
Oh, that's because the air conditioning
The air's
kicks
been
on.
kicking on for some reason.
It just quickly surges. Yeah.
But yeah, so you have those issues. But overall, the game is good. The mechanics are great. The maps are great. The progression is pretty good. The one weird thing that I like and don't like, and when I'm thinking about it, is how you level up after 20. You have to get certain armor. And I like it because it's Bungie's way of making sure that if you rank up to level 20, you could really suck, but just like, you could go through the whole thing and people could level you up because it's shared experience. So
Sure.
their way of making sure that you're strong enough to withstand some of the other bigger enemies is that they have armor rankings that actually go to your ranking. So light armor, or light source actually for your armor is how they measure your ranking after that. So their way of measuring again is if you're only at 21, that means your armor's not very good.
Okay.
And you get better armor. That way they know that you're ready to go into a raid or ready to go into a certain difficulty strike.
Yeah.
Although you look pretty.
So, what is your biggest complaint with the game now? Is it just the pacing right now? How
the game,
quickly?
You know what? There's two big complaints, and I've been playing a lot with a lot of different people. It's like group, mainly more than anybody else, and they know a lot of it. But it's the same across all boards. People that love it. The two biggest complaints is that the number one over anything else, getting the armor that you need to rank up after level 20 is so random sporadic. You can go into, for instance, in Crucible, it's random. So you need more so legendary armor is what you need, the purple. But if you went to a match of Crucible with us, just like you did in the beta,
Yeah.
you could be the worst on the team, getting 1 kill and like 15 deaths, and you could get an exotic item.
Yeah.
You know, and that's happened to people before. We've seen it. Whereas the person that goes like 20-3 gets nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens a lot, and it's a very unfair way. You know, I get they want it to be more random and encompassing to everybody, but it's a very big slap in the face for those that try very, very hard.
Yeah.
Not always me, but other people. There have been times where I didn't do very well,
Mhm.
and I got something free, and I kind of felt like cheap. I'm like, I didn't do shit. Whereas 2 matches ago,
Yeah.
I destroyed everything.
Yep.
So that's the biggest one. That it's so random. And I got.
And we
like,
talked
a lot
about
of-
this earlier, and it's funny because this brings it back to the MMO mentality. That is very MMO to have randomized, because that's what they do to bring you in. That's the addiction. It starts there from the random generation of these
Right.
items and loot, because that's essentially what gambling is.
Right.
And that's what brings you
No, you're
back.
right.
And that's why it kind of is like an MMO.
So that's okay to a point, and
Yeah.
I get that. But the biggest problem is they have these random encrypted items.
Yeah.
So for instance, they have green. It goes green for uncommon, blue for rare, purple for legendary, yellow for exotic. And the problem is, everybody's trying to find these, purple, the purple encrypted ones for the most part. And you can go get them. And me personally, I've gotten 21 now. And Racer is probably cracking up hysterically in the room right now. So is probably Derek and everybody else, because I've gotten 21, and all 21 have either been blue or green.
Okay.
And that's a big slap in the face to
Okay.
someone who's been doing like all this work, and it's just like, hey, congratulations, fuck you.
I hear there's a little bit of like a rubber banding going on too. Do you know what rubber banding
Yes,
is?
and I've seen it a lot. I almost took a couple pictures of it
Yeah.
in certain areas, but I was in multiplayer, so I didn't want to stop what I was doing.
What I'm referring to is, like, you see it in driving games a lot, is that suddenly when you're getting close to the end of the race, suddenly everyone else becomes faster, and it's kind of, in Destiny, it's not quite that, but as you get higher and higher,
Mhm.
and if you're getting things quickly, it seems like they actually pull back on the loot. And they want
Right.
to keep you in the game. They don't want you to reach that end game too quickly and to get everything you need. So they actually turn down maybe your percentage of getting certain things to make sure you have to stay in longer in order to achieve certain things. So it's kind of like a rubber banding of sorts.